Now then folks, how you doing? It's James, JT at the Movies, back with you for another movie collection update. Regular viewers on the channel will notice that I am not in the usual movie room. I'm actually in the attic room, which is currently our recording studio setup. We've also a guest bed at the other side. It's quite a large room. It's actually sort of almost two rooms without the wall dividing them. So on the left side of the room we have the recording studio, which is where I'm sat. The piano and the computer and everything's all behind you, and then all my guitars are over here, and there's a few more sort of over there. And I'm sat up on the settee that we would sit and listen to mixes as they're going and all that sort of stuff when the band's in here tracking the various covers and original tracks that we do. So yeah, not often a room you'd get a peek into while we're in the studio. But the movie room downstairs, as I mentioned in the last video on the channel, is going to become my little boy's new bedroom when he's here. And we're having the basement in this house converted into a new storage room / movie room where I'm going to be able to sort of build the home cinema setup and all that sort of stuff again. A bit like I had at the first property where I had the first movie room. I'm going to have the two recliner chairs back and the TV and everything. And then obviously wall-to-wall movies as well. So there's just a little bit of an update. But I can't get in the movie room right now because it's stacked almost to the ceiling. As is the other side of this room with boxes and things that would have normally lived in our cellar whilst the conversion work starts, and that's starting in a couple of days. So this is about the only free space in the house besides the living room, which Laura's using to watch the telly at the moment, where I could record a video for you. So any videos that I do manage to make in the next month while the works are going on are probably going to be from here, but I wouldn't expect too many from me because our baby boy's due any day now. So absolutely, I've waffled enough, and that was the theme of the last update, wasn't it? So let's try and keep this one a bit more timely, shall we? And as always, start with some DVDs. The first one is a contender for my favourite film of all time. It's certainly in the top 3. It's a film that I have many times over, but I didn't have this particular edition in my collection. As I've said many times before on the channel, I won't buy every film over and over and over again for the different editions, but if it's a film that I'm really passionate about, a favourite film, or, you know, part of something like the Star Wars franchise, or Indiana Jones, or Batman, or something like that, or even this franchise, which is James Bond and Licence to Kill, then it's something I'll buy over. I didn't have this version. I actually had this version years ago and gave it to my mate Phil, and he now has this version, but I'm wanting to collect all the different home releases of this film as it's my favourite James Bond effort. And it was 50p in a charity shop, so I thought, yeah, why not? It's complete with the booklet and the, you know, like the card that you could send off to the James Bond fan club or whatever back in the day, so I figured for a complete set, why not? The next one to show you is one that Laura was keen to watch, and I am as well, but I know it's going to be a hard film to watch because the story's going to be quite heartbreaking, so it won't be one I'm probably watching anytime soon, but it'll be good to have it in the collection. Again, it was 50p, and that is Into the Wild. This next one I picked up on holiday in Scarborough just last week. I went into CEX, and it's a film that's been on my radar for quite a while, actually, and I've wanted to have it in the collection, but I've never come across it for a price I was willing to pay. And anyway, it was £1.50 in CEX. The case was a little bit tatty, so I've swapped it into a case that I think is much better fitting. Me and Laura watched this the other night and had a really great time with it. It was a modern ghost story, I felt, done really well, and that is Crimson Peak. So the next one I picked up, I actually picked up from Vinted. For the longest time, I didn't realise that Vinted did physical media as well. I thought they were just, you know, clothes and bric-a-brac and that sort of thing. But no, they do that as well. And there's a lady over on TikTok called Movie Collector who gets a lot of her things there. And she was the one that sort of alerted me to the fact that they did movies. So anyway, I didn't have this one in the collection. And me and Phil, who I've mentioned already in this video, watched this movie about 6 months ago. And I've been on the lookout for it as I wanted to add it to the collection. But I think it's largely out of print. And so whenever you see it anywhere like Amazon or whatever, it's always like 10, 15, sometimes even 20 quid, depending on the stock levels and the sellers. But I managed to get for £2 plus postage on Vinted, Patrick Swayze and a young Charlie Sheen in Red Dawn. It's not the greatest movie, but I enjoyed it when I watched it, and it's one that I would like to revisit from that sort of 80s sort of Brat Pack sort of era. I know it's not really Brat Pack, but it's almost. I picked this one up in a charity shop in Scarborough. It cost me £1, and it was basically the cast and the premise that sold me. And it's Richard Gere, Andy Garcia in Internal Affairs. Yeah, this next one. I picked it up because curiosity got the better of me. Now, I didn't hate it anywhere near as much as a lot of people have. And it's maybe because I went into it with my expectations sort of so low, you know, on the ground almost, sort of almost dig a hole to put them in, that maybe this came off better. But the acting was terrible from most of the cast, and the story was not all that, and the sort of the trailers really missold it as a promise of a sort of a superhero movie, and it really kind of wasn't. There was just a couple of flashes of it. And Dakota Johnson, God love her, I'm sure she's a lovely lass. She cannot act her way out of a paper bag. And it was dreadful, but I somehow still managed to enjoy it. That was Madam Web, if you hadn't already guessed. I'm looking forward to seeing this next one. I saw the trailers for it in the cinema, but haven't got round to watching it yet. And I got a little award at work, actually, where my boss sort of recognised me for something that she thought I'd done particularly well, and sent me a £10 Amazon gift voucher. So thank you very much for that one, boss. And it paid for Wicked Little Letters for me, which is one I'm looking forward to watching soon. Apologies for that glare. I've got all my lights set up in a different way. It doesn't half make a difference. I thought, oh, I'll record this video without the lights on, but I tell you what, the difference it makes is night and day. In fact, let me see if I can show you. Look at the difference there. It's mental, isn't it? So anyway, you might prefer it. You might think, no, James, go back to being in the dark. We don't want to see you, mug. But then again, you might not. So the last two to show you. So here's a first for me. I picked this next film up at a gig. So as you know, I'm in a band, and we play fairly regularly in various different configurations. Anyway, the four of us were out playing a gig at a boating club, and it was their sort of like open day, celebration day, and the members of the club decided they were going to have like a bric-a-brac and book sale, and there was a small stack of DVDs. So of course, me being like a bloodhound for movies, went and sniffed them out, and the only one that was in the pile that I was interested in was Young Guns 2. So I picked it up. I think it was like 50p or whatever the guy wanted for it. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. The disc's in great shape. But I didn't have Young Guns 1 in my collection. So I went onto Amazon and decided that I would get Young Guns. And that's all the DVDs that I have to show you. So I've got a handful of Blu-rays, one boutique Blu-ray to show you, and one 4K. So let me just rearrange my stack and start showing you. So the first four that I'm going to show you are again pickups from my holiday to Scarborough, and they were in a charity shop. Now at first I double took when I saw these Blu-rays, not because of the titles they're fairly common titles, and they're actually all upgrades for me from DVD to Blu-ray. But I was about to take a picture and post it on Instagram and give them an absolute roasting for a laugh, until the lady clarified with me what the price meant. So I'll hold that in, see if you can read that. So that says £49. And I'm like, you what? £49 for The Darkest Hour on Blu-ray? I mean, it is still in the plastic, but even still, that's a bit of a stretch. So I went and clarified with the lady on the till. I went, sorry, how much are these? Oh, they're 49 pence. I was like, right, sold. So I got The Darkest Hour, the first one. And like I say, still in the cellophane. Opened this one, but in great nick, and I really enjoyed this film. It got a lot of flack, but I really enjoyed it. It's a bit of an all-star cast, and it's a World War II movie as well, and it is The Monuments Men. Didn't mind this one either, from Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. It's night and day, and again, like I say, these are all upgrades to DVDs that I've got. This one I was particularly happy to get, as I've only the DVD in my collection, and I love Clint Eastwood's movies, and I love Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, so this upgrade made absolute sense to me. And all the discs are in there, they're all in great shape as well, so, you know, 49 pence a disc, you just, Blu-ray as well, you can't say fairer. Myself and Phil, he's getting a few mentions on this this episode, mate, so shout out to you, bud. Have decided that after 18 months of hiatus, we want to revive our podcast, Lost in His Own Museum. The catalyst for that was that there's been some sort of change to the T's and C's on Spotify, and some of the episodes have been pulled down, so Phil's sorting all that out behind the scenes. But it got us sort of reminiscing about how much we enjoyed doing it, and we've plotted a whole new season for you, which we've started recording. We're about 4 episodes in as of the time of recording this. We're going to start releasing it from probably July, get baby here and out of the way, and then I can start resuming the other half of the season. And it's sort of inspired by the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but it's going to be the 10 degrees of another actor instead. And I won't say any more than that, and we're going to review films and sort of work from one actor to another actor, and so there's going to be a sort of a connecting theme throughout. We're having a lot of fun so far with what we're doing. But one of the films was Harrison Ford and Sean Bean, who was the sort of the connecting theme for that particular episode, in Patriot Games. So I have this on DVD, and I've had it on DVD for years, but decided that it was time for an upgrade, and so jumped onto Amazon. It was £6. So I was like, yeah, absolutely going to grab that. And while I was there, I thought it made sense to also grab Clear and Present Danger. So a couple of upgrades there for me, but really happy to have them. And the Patriot Games one, which is the only one I've watched of the two of them so far, looked fantastic. And the difference between that and the Blu-ray really was night and day. Sorry, the DVD even, but you knew what I meant. So the last regular DVD to show you is probably the big one that we've all got this month. I ummed and ahed about getting the 4K. I'm really in a weird place with 4K. Like, if it's the only way to get something, I'll get it, like The Abyss, like True Lies, and, you know, whatever else. And, like, I think initially the Snyder Cut was only on 4K, wasn't it, and stuff like that. And there are some films where it sort of makes sense to me to get. And this is definitely one of those films where getting the 4K would have made sense. But I am still largely happy with DVD for picture quality. So for me, sort of thinking about more saving me money and allowing me to get more things that I want to buy in the collection, I settled on the Blu-ray. This film's a cinematic masterpiece. Now, this is coming from somebody that thought the first one was just okay, and I didn't really quite get what the fuss was about, but Dune Part 2 was bloody fantastic, and I cannot wait to get this rewatched over the summer. Really looking forward to revisiting that. And you never know, it might end up being one where I end up re-upgrading it to 4K when I get a new TV and set up for the new movie room. You never know. But for now, the Blu-ray will more than do me. The only boutique one I've got to show you is from Second Sight. I picked it up in CEX in Scarborough when we were there. It was the fact that, basically it was the plot, if I could speak, and the cast that sold me. And it is Richard Gere in Breathless. So, I've never seen it before, but I like Richard Gere when he pops up in stuff, and the plot sounded interesting, so I look forward to watching that one soon. And then the last one to show you is an early birthday present from my mum and her husband. As I say, my little boy is due anytime in the next few days, so my birthday's also in the next few days. So my birthday's kind of on hold at the moment while we sort of go through all that. And my mum was like, well, what do you want for your birthday? And, you know, we'll get it and order it for you and whatever else. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I saw that the steelbooks were coming out. And I thought, oh yeah, I've got to get my hands on that. But then I saw how quickly they were selling, so she's like, I tell you what, I'll order it you now, and you can just have it, and you hopefully can sit down and enjoy it before you've no time to watch TV or films again when your little lad's here. Which is probably quite right, isn't it? So it is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the complete series on Blu-ray 4K steelbook. It's got the art cards inside. If I can get inside it to show you, it's got the slidey, you know, sort of J-card type thing there, little box, isn't it, for it? I've not opened all the cards or anything yet, but that's what it looks like inside. And then I've got the cards here, we can show you them. So here's the first one of Sam as Captain America. And there's another one of Wyatt Russell, I think he's called, as the US agent. And then I think that's either US agent or Captain America fighting Okoye from Black Panther. So yeah, an interesting set of cards there with it as well. I've not seen the series as yet, but I'm interested to watch it now I know that it's going to directly link into the next Captain America film. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't probably have been interested in the next Captain America film had it not for been that Harrison Ford's going to be playing one of the bad guys in it. So I'm sort of looking forward to watching that as a Harrison Ford fan more than anything else. So I figured, well, do you know what? I'll play catch up on the whole Captain America story. I was actually just having this conversation with the missus tonight, and we were both saying that the MCU probably should have stopped with Endgame, and they'd have had an almost perfect run of, you know, nearly 20 films or whatever it would have been at that point. But really, you know, like a saga for the ages. But everything they've done post Endgame just seems to really have fallen flat in some ways. Don't get me wrong, you know, there's a couple of pearlers in there, your No Way Homes, your Guardians, your Shang-Chi's and whatever else. But for the majority, they're all sort of poor to middling, at least in my opinion. And it's just getting so difficult to follow. Oh, you need to watch this cartoon to follow this, and this Disney Plus series to follow that, and this movie links into that, and you won't get this, and just all a bit too involved for me. But there you go. There's a little aside for you. So thank you very much for watching, as always. I really appreciate it, guys. And if I'm not about much in the next month, obviously you'll understand why. But I will be doing my best, as well as becoming a first-time dad, to document the conversion of the cellar and hopefully do sort of like a little, you know, time-lapse sort of mini documentary sort of. You know what I mean, sort of like I did the last time, sort of building the new movie room thing and sort of show you the conversion as it goes, and, you know, as we, you know, get it painted and carpeted, and then the mammoth task of moving everything downstairs. And I'm still undecided on where to go with the shelving situation, because I think even when it's getting dug out a little bit, is that room. I still think even when it's dug out, by the time they've brought the floor back up with some concrete and the leveling and you know, plastering it and whatever else they need to do, that the shelves I've got won't fit. So so it might be an interesting challenge, that. So it's all to play for, and I'm going to do my best to document it all, because I know that there'll be people interested that have, you know, watched the previous ones and watched me build both the movie room at the last house and the one downstairs. And yeah, absolutely look forward to bringing all that to you. And then hopefully, as best it can, normal service should resume sort of from July. I don't anticipate I'll be picking much up in June either. So there might not be a June update for, you know, for movies like we've just done. It might be condensed into July. We'll wait and see on that front, folks. But if you've liked the video, drop it that all-important thumbs up. Let's YouTube know to keep making movies and keep making videos like this for you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on the movies I've picked up, any recommendations, the usual sort of stuff. I really do enjoy when you guys leave me comments, and it's always nice when I've got time to write back to you and get a bit of a conversation going as well. Apologies to anybody that's left any comments recently if I've just dropped you the little heart and not left a comment back, as I'm sure you can imagine I've been incredibly busy with the run up to everything. So it's just been a bit of a hectic time. And as well, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It means the world to me, and of course it helps the channel to grow as well. And above all else, folks, I will see you again really soon for another video where I'll probably be a dad. So take care of yourselves and see you real soon. Bye for now.